Hi, everybody. This is MMA Talks podcast from Italy. We are trying to reach to Jason Knight, one of our favorite and top prospect in the UFC featherweight division. We are calling Jason right now in D'Iberville, Mississippi, where he's preparing for his upcoming match with Chas Skelly at UFC 211. Hi, Jason. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you guys today?
We are fine. We are fine. Are you in the middle of the training camp for your match at the UFC 211?
Yes, sir. I'm in the middle of getting things ready as we speak to head to the gym, do a little bit of training tonight.
Okay. We have some question from our Italian fans for you. But first of all, would you like to give for people who doesn't know you very well a quick story of how at 24 years old you already been in the top promotion of MMA?
I started early when I was 14 years old, and it's something I've been working on for a very long time. I've been in the sport for 10 years now, and as an amateur, I went 10-0, and as a professional, my actual record now is 20 wins, 2 losses, and the sheer dog has it a little messed up. UFC has it a little messed up, but my actual record is 20 wins, 2 losses, and I mean I believe that the camp I'm training at, I fight for Alan Belcher. He was a former UFC fighter, used to be, I believe, number 6 in the middleweight division. And, I believe that he helped me to get to where I'm at. He had the right contacts with the right people. And also, my record, it speaks for us. I went out there and I fought my ass off, done everything I could do to, become a great fighter. And after 10 years, I finally got recognized. Someone finally seen that,
Yeah, so
kid can fight, and they finally give me a shot.
yeah, you seem young for people who just used to follow UFC and say it's a 24 years old kid just got the UFC, but it comes from a long way, like you said before.
Yes, sir.
You training in just you said like with Alan Belcher MMA camp is in D'Iberville, Mississippi, which is where you're born and raised. Am I wrong?
Yes, sir. I train in D'Iberville, Mississippi. I was born in Jackson, Mississippi, but I live in a small town called Lucedale, Mississippi, and that's where I've been raised at. Since I was about 6 years old, I've been here, and I live about an hour drive away from my gym, but I make that drive every day. I've been making that drive every day for about the last 8 years, and it's worked out good for me.
So you've been always been training in MMA, the same camp with Alan Belcher in that gym. Does it ever cross your mind the idea of moving to a bigger gym like, I don't know, TriStar, Jackson Wink, ATT, those kind of gym? Or do you feel more comfortable in a more familiar gym, kind of like where you are?
I believe, that the gym I'm at, Alan Belcher MMA, we have one of the best gyms around. We have a lot of very underrated fighters. We don't have any really big names at our gym, but we have a lot of up and coming guys. And we're a family there. It's not just a place to train. It's home, and I don't see myself moving anywhere anytime. I'll probably retire right here at Alan Belcher MMA Club in D'Iberville, Mississippi. I mean, of course, I like going to other places and cross training and stuff like that. I went to Phuket Top Team out in Thailand and trained with those guys a few times for my last few fights, and I really like it. And I like bouncing around, going from gym to gym. Maybe spend a few weeks here or a month here and stuff like that. But as far as my home gym, I'm 100% confident that will always be Alan Belcher MMA Club.
Okay, that's cool. So it's not a close place, but it's open-minded cross-working with other places, like you said, Thailand, different influencer from other gym?
Yes, sir. Just
Okay.
mainly I would go to other gyms, to see different levels of competition and, train with different athletes and,
Cool.
work different skill sets.
That's nice. We have some question from our follower on our page and Twitter account. I'm just gonna talk this question to you.
Yes,
So,
sir.
first of all, we have Fabrizio who's asking you, in your opinion, who's the strongest, toughest guy in your division right now in the featherweight division?
In my opinion, right now, I would have to say probably Max Holloway. I mean, he's been on a hell of a win streak. He's a really tough fighter, and he gets better pretty much every time he goes out there. And I believe that he will continue to get better. And he has the heart of a champion. He conducts himself like a champion. He's going to be a true test for anybody that steps in that octagon with him.
So, what's your prediction for the upcoming title fight between him and Jose Aldo? You think Max gonna win? You think it's gonna be a decision, or?
I believe that Max should win. Not counting Jose Aldo out. Jose Aldo, of course, he's always going to be one of the greatest MMA fighters there are. But I think that he might be a little past his prime, and Max Holloway, he's just now getting into his prime, and I believe that Max Holloway will probably stop him second or third round. I don't know how he's going to stop him, but I believe that he would stop him with strikes second or third round.
Okay, thank you. Another question. They asking you, when was that precise moment that you realize I'm gonna be a professional fighter? The defining moment when you said, okay, this is what is gonna be my job.
To be honest, I was 15 years old and I was in the 10th grade in high school. My mom, she told me that I could quit school and get my GED. And I had plans on quitting school at the end of the school year, and I stopped doing any kind of work in any of my classes. And one of my teachers, he asked me, he said, what are you doing? Why are you not training? And why are you not doing your schoolwork? I told him at the end of the year, I'm quitting. I'm not coming back to school. Well, this teacher, he asked me, what are you planning on doing with your life? At this time, I had already been fighting as an amateur for about a year. And he asked me, he said, well, what are you planning on doing with your life? And I told him, I'm going to be a UFC fighter. Well, when I told him this, the teacher laughs in my face. Haha, good luck with that. And, that was my moment right there. It's like, I'm going to prove your ass wrong. You're not going to, laugh at me and, make me believe it for myself. You're not going to make me believe that I can't do it. And from that moment on, I pushed to make sure that the one thing that I wanted out of life, that I got it. I made sure that no matter what, I pushed and pushed, and no matter the struggles I went through, I made sure that I kept that focus and made sure that I became what I wanted to be.
So it was a big propeller to prove him wrong when some people doubt you and said, that's impossible, you're not going to be that, so let me see what I can do.
Yes, sir. I mean, all of my supporters, everyone who supported me, they've helped me out a lot. Their support has made me go a long way in this career. But the ones who doubt me, the ones who said I couldn't do it, that's the ones who, pushed me to fight even harder and train even harder and get even better. The ones who doubted me, I wanted to prove them wrong.
Yeah, that's what you call the naysayer, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So another question is asking you about your last fight with Caceres. He said, after you beat a fighter like Caceres with another submission, do you think you can build your career on your ground game, or Are you more focused on improving on the standing and the striking game?
In my eyes, I'm very good on the ground. I know this, and I know that I can beat most people in the featherweight division on the ground. But that's not what's gonna one day make me a champion. The thing that I believe is becoming a better mixed martial artist. Period. Getting better at everything. That's where my focus lies. I believe that I have to improve everywhere, and I've always been the type of fighter that I don't really care where the fight occurs. If it's standing, then good. If it's on the ground, good. If I feel that I need to keep the fight standing, that's what I'm going to do. If I feel that I need to take the fight to the ground, then that's what I'm going to do. And I believe, that I'll build my career, I'll build my name off of being, the kind of fighter that's just is ready to go at all costs. It doesn't matter where the fight takes place. I want to be able to win standing. I want to be able to win on the ground. And, I'm just going to keep focusing on closing every little hole that I have in my game and improving everywhere.
Yeah, so whatever kind of opponent you might find out, you never feel threatened in any aspect of the game. That's
no, sir. Yeah, I definitely want to make sure that no matter who they put in front of me, I can, if I can't beat the guy, I can at least compete with him.
Yeah. After your last fight, you called out the Korean Superboy after, and to be honest, when I watched that fight live, it seems like a right call for you and a great matchup to see for us. Why the hell they didn't give us that fight, you and the Korean Superboy?
I don't know yet, man. I'm trying to just beat whoever they put in front of me, work my way up.
Okay.
The UFC, they know who I want now, and I've told them I want the Korean Superboy. I won't ask again. I won't tell them another name. They know the name I want. If they ask me again, I'm not even going to entertain them with telling them who I want. I'm going to tell them, look, Dana White knows who I want. Sean Shelby knows who I want. If you don't give me this guy, give me the next guy. I'm going to beat him, and I'm going to work my way until you think that I'm worthy to fight the Korean Superboy. And I believe, whenever they do give us that fight, they're going to have a hell of a fight to watch.
So basically, you called out him, but he didn't answer back to you.
I don't know. I don't know if the Korean Superboy didn't want the fight or if Dana White didn't want the fight, but
okay. One or the other.
I'm ready for the fight any day.
Yeah. So speaking of upcoming fight, how about your contract situation after your next bout with Chas Skelly? How many fights do you have left on your contract?
I just, after the fight with Alex Caceres, I renegotiated for another 4-fight contract. So after I fight Chas Skelly, I have another 3 fights on this contract. And, I want to try to fight all 4 of these fights this year.
Sure. Oh, all 4 in this year in 2017. That's gonna be great, man.
Yes, sir. That would be 5 fights in 2017. I don't know if the UFC will give me that, but that's sure what I'm going to ask for.
Yeah. How do you feel about your upcoming fight in Dallas, Texas? I mean, you're not from Texas, but you're quite close. You're a man of the South. How does it feel? Is it almost like fighting at home for you?
Yes, sir. This is the closest I could get to fighting at home right now. In Mississippi, we have no big venues, to put on fights at, stuff like that. But Texas, I'm able to bring a lot of my family members out there. And, I'm extremely confident that I can go out here and get the win because, I'm going to have a lot more fans screaming for me, a lot of my family, a lot of my friends. And, I'm going to fight a lot harder than I normally do because I don't want to let them down. I want to go out there and, make sure that I give it everything I have. And, I'm not overconfident. I know that Chas Skelly is going to be a tough test for me, but,
Yeah, that's probably the biggest fight of your career so far.
Yes, sir, definitely. So far, Alex Caceres, he was my biggest test. Now Chas Skelly, an even bigger test. Um, he's probably not a bigger name than Alex Caceres, but I believe that, he's going to be a whole lot tougher opponent because he's a completely different fighting style. Chas Skelly, he's going to come out here. He's going to try to impose his will, try to grind me out, take me down, and, try to just make it a nasty fight.
Yeah,
and I believe, that it's going to come down to who really wants this fight more. And I couldn't see anywhere in the world that he wants it more than I do.
Sure. I have a few questions from my other colleagues that could not be here with me right now. First of all, Gianluca, who is specialized in technical analysis about matches and stuff, he said he noticed that in your UFC career, the level of your opponent has grown fight by fight, but the more the level of your opponent has grown, the more your performances inside the octagon has grown. What is this all about? You find that hard situation, difficult situation can bring out the best of you every time?
Yes, sir. I'm definitely, every time that I have a very tough test, it makes me work harder, for one. And for two, any man that's ever fought MMA, period, they can tell you that they're not scared. They're not worried. Every fight that I have a tough fight, I'm scared. I'm worried. And, it's not, I'm scared of the guy. I'm scared of the possibility that I might lose. And each time that I have that fear in me, it brings out the best in me. It makes me fight so much better. It makes me go out there and perform so much better. And that fear in me, and I don't let it break me. I let it build me up each time. And especially fighting on this level, fighting in front of thousands of fans, in front of people all around the world watching on TV. I don't want to go out there and disappoint anybody who's screaming for me. And most of all, I don't want to disappoint myself or my family. So I make sure that, I give it everything I've got every time I go out there. And if the guy's not ready for the heart I'm bringing to the table, and, if he doesn't want it more than I do, then I go out there and I'm able to shine.
And speaking of this, thinking about your past opponent, people you already fought, who was the tough one that you fought?
My hardest fight still to this day was my fight with Titan FC. I fought a guy named Musa Kamanaya. He was a Chechnyan. And man, this guy, he hit like a Mack truck. He was, one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen. If he put his fingers on my legs, I was on the ground. If he barely touched me to take me down, I was on the ground. And this guy, he hit harder than, a heavyweight. Most heavyweights that I've trained with, this 145-pound guy, he hit harder than they did. And it was the toughest thing I've ever had to deal with. It was a fight where all the way through the fight, I was thinking in my head, I'm going to lose. I'm going to lose. And, I just kept pushing, kept giving it everything I had, because I have a lot of heart. And eventually I tapped the guy out with a triangle choke in the second round. But man, it was the toughest fight ever.
Really, that's surprising. I thought you just had 2 losses in your career, so I thought when asking you this, you're gonna come up with one of those losses. Instead, you talking about a guy you beat it, but you said it was a hell of a fight before you closed this one. So
yes, sir. In the UFC, I've had tough fights, but the fight with Calgary, it was on 2 weeks notice, and that was just poor game planning. I believe if you gave me that fight again, I would beat him 10 times out of 10. But I don't think I'll ever get that chance again. He's fighting in Japan now. Probably my most memorable fight that I've had besides the real tough Chechnyan. I fought a guy named Michael Roberts. That was one of my first losses. He beat me because I was ill prepared. I was cocky and confident. I
Back
was
in
7-0.
2011 was it? 2012 that matches.
Yes, sir. The very first time I fought him. Yeah, I fought him the first time and I lost to him. I was 7-0 as a pro, and it was his pro debut, so I barely trained and I wasn't ready for the fight. And I went out there and I beat him in the first round, and then I come out the second round and I was tired. He kicked my ass the second round. He kicked my ass the third round, and I lost the decision. I wound up 2 years later. I was able to avenge that loss, but that's probably my most memorable fight because that's the one fight that I've learned the most from. I've won numerous amounts of times, and you don't learn a whole lot from the wins, because the wins, you don't go back and you don't look at what you've done wrong. The losses, they make you pick apart everything that you've done wrong. They make you criticize yourself. They make you, you know, figure out what the problem is, and they make you want to solve that problem. And that's what I did after that first loss. I went out there and I got my ass kicked, and after that, that was the worst feeling ever. I made sure that I didn't want to feel that feeling ever again.
Yeah, because when you win, sometimes it makes you overlook to what you did wrong because you won, and you do not focus that much on those mistakes. But there's always something you can improve.
Yes, sir. That's every time. And now as I'm getting further in my career and I'm getting to be a better fighter, I'm learning to kind of pick apart my wins as well and try and correct the mistakes I make even in the fights that I win, trying to better everything that I've done wrong.
Absolutely. My other partner, colleague Giovanni, is asking you about your upcoming bout with Skelly. He said Skelly is also a really tough opponent, an excellent wrestler with good reach. What is in your mind? Do you have a game plan, a better way to find a kind of opponent like Chas, who is a scrapper?
I'm gonna fight him, the same as I do everyone else. I'm gonna come right straight forward, and I believe he's gonna come straight forward. I believe that we're gonna meet in the middle of the cage, and it's just gonna be a scrap. And I know that if I can stop him from taking me to the ground, standing on the feet, I'm gonna dominate the fight. But on the ground, it's gonna be kind of a toss up. It's gonna be a tough fight for me. It's gonna be a tough fight for him. But if we keep the fight standing, if I can keep the fight standing, I believe it will be a pretty easy night for me and a very long night for Chas Skelly.
Okay, so you planning in your plan you had better chances in the stand up than going to the ground because you feel more comfortable than him on the stand up.
Yes, sir. I believe that's my best chance of winning a easy fight. Easily. If I stay standing, that's my best chance of dominating the fight. If we go to the ground, I'm still confident that I can beat him on the ground as well. But, I believe that on the ground is where I have the most problems, stopping the takedowns and the ground fight. That'll be the most problems for me. Standing, I believe that I won't have any problems.
Okay. Are you already able to thinking forward of what may come next for you after that match? Or are you more the kind of guy you want to stay focused on what's in front of you right now and not looking forward or past your opponent?
I believe, if I do win this fight, and it's a very big possibility that I will. It's a very big possibility that he can beat me as well. But in my head, if I beat him, then they have no choice but to either put me in the top 15, or my next fight will possibly be against a top 15 ranked opponent.
Yeah.
And I think that's very logical, considering where I'm at right now.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, if they give me a top 15 ranked opponent, even if I'm not ranked in the top 15, they give me a top 15 ranked opponent, then I have a chance of beating him. I try to beat that guy And if I beat him, then, eventually Korean Superboy has to come and play somewhere. I mean, they know what I want. They know that it's going to be a good fight. And I believe that they're just kind of making me earn it right now.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan to me. My only problem is that I'll never understand the way they update ranking in the UFC because, sometimes they have really unpredictable movement in the ranking. So, but for sure, winning a match like your upcoming one, that might put you with a matchup or with a top 15. Personally, I would love to see you and Darren Elkins. That would be a hell of a fight.
Yeah, man, that's gonna be a hell of a scrap. That would be a super super tough opponent, and he's gonna be tough for anybody, man, because he has the heart of a true fighter. I mean, you've seen Darren Elkins' last fight. You can never count that guy out.
Absolutely not. But I also seen your UFC fights, and I think you have a tons of heart too. So that would be interesting. It's already been interesting watching you against Chas Skelly, but maybe even Darren Elkins after that. It's gonna be great. So
Yeah, man, I believe it would be an awesome fight for me and awesome fight for him as well.
and for the fans, that
Yes,
would
sir.
be my absolutely choice for fight of the night. With which card, I don't know where they might put the match like that, but if I see Knight against Elkins, I said that's gonna be a fight of the night. So right
I
now
believe so.
we're just a little bit more than 1 month away from your match. How is it going? Your training camp right now? You train 6 days a week, I suppose.
Yes, sir. Everything's going great. I have no injuries, and I'm eating well. My weight's looking good, and I'm just slowly but surely getting everything in line. I I've already done my physical. I've already done my eye exam. I go tomorrow and do my blood work, and then all of the technical side of it's done. As far as the medical and all that stuff, all of that's done, and I have no more headache. And after that, it's just strictly focusing on beating Chas Skelly. And I'm in the gym all the time and trying to make sure that I'm at my best. And as of right now, I have no injuries. I never know if there will be an injury before the fight, but I fought with injuries many, many times, as every fighter has. And when you get inside that octagon, it really doesn't matter if you've got an injury. You get in there and they shut that door and all that goes away, and you can think about your pain the next day or whatever. But I'm very prepared and getting better every day.
This is great. You're kind of a big guy for the division, featherweight. You're 6 feet tall. What's your average weight when you're not fighting?
I usually never get over around 165 pounds, and it's an easy walking around weight for me.
Not
I
that
don't
much.
have to. I don't, sir.
It's not so much over your weight class limit.
No, no, and I don't have to diet or anything like that. I usually eat as I want, anything that I want, and I just stay training, and my body stays in shape. And I really never have to cut much weight. Whenever I start getting closer to the fight, I just drink a whole bunch of water and keep my body hydrated as I can keep it, and then it makes the weight cut pretty easy.
Yeah, that seems a good plan for the direction the things are going with the weight cut. I mean, there's an interesting proposal from the California Athletic Commission for new rules about weighting cut to limit the amount of weight that you can cut before fight. It seems something not far away from ONE FC, what they already did in Japan. Uh, what's your thought about a weight cut? You think would be because I think it's one of the main problems in the sports today.
It's never really been a big issue for me. It's always
Okay.
been really easy to cut the weight. And if everyone would fight at their natural weight, I would have no problem with fighting at my natural weight, and I could compete against anybody that's walks around at 165 pounds. But whenever I go in the ring, and I'm walking around at 165, fighting a guy that walks around at 190, 200 pounds, that's not fair. If I didn't cut weight and he did, so I think for the most part, weight cutting's good for the fighters, because that way you have to be at this certain weight, and that your opponent, he's not walking around at 200 pounds to make 145 pounds. He's walking around 165, 170 at the most, and cuts down to 145 pounds.
Yeah, so it's good that there's gonna be some limitations. There's not gonna be such a huge difference between weighing and fighting day weights. So
yeah, man, it's really nothing that scares me. If they change that rule, then that's fine with me, because I've never really had to cut much weight anyway. So it's not going to be that big a deal.
Okay. Well, Jason, I think you already gave us a quite nice amount of your free time in between training camps, so I might let you go back to your work and business before your upcoming fight. Thank you so much, and I hope we can talk again with you right after the match, and maybe
yes,
there's gonna be another fight of the night. We never know.
Yes, sir. Sounds
Okay.
good. I'm going to go out there and do my best to make it the best performance that I can. If you want, give me a call anytime, and we'll get back for another interview.
I'm quite sure it's going to be another really, really great fun fight, like the last time we see you inside the octagon. Thank you so much, Jason, and have a great training camp, and good luck for your upcoming match.
Yes, sir. Thank you. You have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
So this was Jason Knight, who was very kind to give us some time in between training camps for his upcoming match. And if you want to follow us, you can find us on our website, www.mmatalks.it, or you can follow us on our Facebook page, still MMA Talks Italy. Thank you, everybody. Bye.